Welcome to where'd you go? Welcome to episode 36 of Star Wars Culture Live, a fairly new podcast focusing on Star Wars excitement and connection. Your escape pod for hyperspace buzz and fandom fixes. As always, I am Ian, and as always, this is Marty, and this is where the fun begins. Instead of the negativity you often find on the Star Wars side of the internet, we want to talk about the things we love about Star Wars, how it enriches our lives, community, culture, fans, media, anything at all. So, as always, if you have anything for us, reactions, questions, requests, suggestions for future segments, anything at all, throw them in the comments, and we will see what we can do. And don't forget to check us out on all the socials. We are at SW Culture Live everywhere except for Facebook. We're streaming usually on Culture Slate and episode 9 news. But as usual, we are going to start with little fun facts about ourselves to help you get to know us a little bit better every episode. So take it away with a super fun fact, Marty.
I got a new car yesterday.
That is a very fun fact.
Yeah, so this is what I was driving. That's what I was driving. It was a 2012 Chevy Cruze.
Okay.
Yeah. It had some issues, some electrical issues and whatnot. So finally we said enough's enough. And we got this baby.
What is it?
A 2018 Hyundai Sonata SE.
Ooh, SE sounds fancy. I'm not a car guy. I have no idea what that means.
It's like a sports thing, like a sporty car.
Sport
I believe
elite is now what I'm gonna say it stands for.
I believe it might actually be that, if I'm not mistaken. But
do you? There's no way I got that right. Do you have any Star Wars magnets or bumper stickers that went on that car?
Not on the new one right now. I'm working towards it because right now, its name. I give every car I have a name. This one's kind of different. The first two were like, like feminine names because they were more like a feminine looking, like not feminine looking, but like they had like a feeling of a. Anyway, this one's a male, and the way he looked, he looked like Kylo Ren to me. So now his name is Kylo.
Okay.
And soon I'm going to be putting in my show my face now so that we can see it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to put in the cup holder coasters that I have the Imperial logo. And then I have Star Wars dog tags that make it look like I was in the Imperial Army. That I'm going to place on the around the mirror, rear view mirror. My old car, I kind of just left it with it. It said this ride has made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. But I left it with that vehicle, so now I'm going to get a new one.
Yeah.
Or something new.
I have some Star Wars stuff. I have one crazy Marvel thing in my car. I got one of those things where it's like you flip up a button to press the ignition button.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2020 Honda Pilot, so it's one of those ones where you just press the button. If the key is in the ignition, then that's how you turn it on. And but they sell these things that you could put on top of it where you just like glue it on there, and then it's like this little button that you flip up, and then you push the button, and then you put the cover back down, and that's a Captain America shield. That's what I put for mine. But then I have a little Imperial shiny magnet. My old car had way too many bumper stickers. It had like literally stickers, so they would fade and get torn up by weather, and it would look disgusting. So this time I'm just going with a few classy, those shiny silvery magnets, and I think right now all I have is the little Imperial symbol right next to the word pilot on the back. Like it's a Honda Pilot, so it looks like like Imperial Pilot. That's what it says. And then I have a Decepticon sticker on the hood, like it's a Decepticon. So It's unrelated. There's a lot of nerddom going on in that car. Cool. Yeah. Congrats on your new car, new ride. You look like you froze for a sec. Okay, you're back. Good. All right. My fun fact is way less exciting. I just got back from a work trip like an hour and a half ago. So I was not able to charge my lightsabers all day for this. And I forgot to charge them after last time. So that's why there's only one lit up, not one of my normal ones, and it's the Kylo Ren, and it's blue because I just felt like it. Because normally there's blue and red going, but if it has to be just one color, I'm just going to try blue and see what that looks like. But it probably won't last that long anyway. It's never done a full show like this. It's mostly just been sitting around being beautiful. So that might die pretty soon. Like I said, way less exciting than a new car. Anyway, moving on to HoloNet news. The biggest news this week, I feel like, wasn't actually direct Star Wars news, but the first teaser trailer for Spaceballs 2 has been officially released. So that's on, as always, we're looking at Star Wars Underworld's Instagram. So if you want to see all your Star Wars news coverage, check them out. First teaser image from Spaceballs 2. Pretty promising stuff. Some of the details. It's obviously the sequel to the 1987 classic, directed by Josh Greenbaum, written by Benji Sammet, Dan Hernandez, and Josh Gad. I forgot Josh Gad was so involved. Mel Brooks will officially return as Yogurt at 98 years old. Josh Gad is also expected to star, and it will hit theaters in 2027.
I'm excited.
Some more stuff. Yeah, it's I still haven't seen it, or I haven't seen it recently. I saw it a long time ago, but I need to watch it again. According to Deadline, Bill Pullman and Rick Moranis are set to reprise their roles as Lone Star and Dark Helmet, respectively, and Keke Palmer has also reportedly joined the cast.
How about that though? You get Moranis out of retirement to do this.
I know movie. he was like done, right? But then they're like, hey, we're getting the gang back together.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks was talking about it, and he's may the Schwartz be with you, is what he's saying. It's back. Lewis Pullman is in talks to join his father, Bill Pullman, playing Lone Star's son, Starburst. Wait, Starburst Star? Oh my god. It's already goofy. Let's see what that was mostly the big news. There's a little bit of little Star Wars tidbits. Tamara Morrison tells Collider he's still waiting for another season of Book of Boba Fett. He says, I know they're doing Ahsoka season 2. I'm going, where's my season 2? Say it again.
Said me too.
Oh yeah, no.
It's something with Tam as Boba Fett.
Yeah, or another one. He says he's eager to play Captain Rex in Ahsoka season 2, which I'm equally down for. Yeah. That would be pretty great. He's already set. Like he's got the haircut going on.
Yeah, just grow out the white beard or put a fake white beard on. Perfect.
Yep, exactly. And then last piece of news here, Star Wars Han Solo Hunt for the Falcon, a 5-issue comic miniseries from Marvel written by Rodney Barnes with art by Ramon Rosanas, is set to launch September 3rd. The story will focus on Han Solo during his retirement between episodes 6 and 7 and his quest to find the Millennium Falcon when it goes missing. Leia Organa and Lando Calrissian will also appear. Obviously, that search for the Falcon can't go too well because he still doesn't have it at the beginning of The Force Awakens. So I'm down for some adventures though. It looks fun.
We might get involved with the Kanja Club and what was the other gang?
Yeah, I feel like it was somebody's name, right?
Yeah, I can't remember now.
Chat. What was the name of the other club that he's fighting with in Force Awakens? I forget. It's gonna bother me until I look it up later. And behind the scenes images from Andor season 2. And that's it for news this week. Nothing crazy in Star Wars land other than Spaceballs 2. So let's move on to our respective smaller segments. First up, Marty has on this day in Star Wars history. I don't even know what today is, so you take it away.
Well, today is June 18th. And in 1999, the mythology of Star Wars with George Lucas and Bill Moyers premieres on PBS. I'm guessing it's basically like the influences of like the mythology behind Star Wars, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I've never heard of this. They're like the last one from the History Channel. I've never heard of that.
yeah. No, I don't think. I feel like I literally just edited an article on Culture Slate website about this. Mythology of Star Wars.
Nice.
Bill Moyers. Yeah, that must be kind of cool. Is it just? It's not just Phantom Menace, right?
I don't think so. I think they just put the Phantom Menace logo there because it came out the same year.
Right. Yeah, interesting. It was on PBS. Is it on Disney Plus now, do you think?
I highly doubt it. You might be able to YouTube it like the History Channel one.
I was on caps lock for some reason. Mythology, BillMoyers.com. Yeah, it appears Disney Plus is not coming up every. Oh, you can just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's just an hour-long little YouTube thing. It does look like a lot of Phantom Menace clips are in it, so maybe it does focus on like the Jedi Council and things like that. Interesting. I'd check that out. Onto my much stupider segment, the dad joke of the week. Why did Luke go all the way to the swamp to learn from Yoda? It's because the training was worth waiting for. Waiting.
Okay.
In the water. Yeah. No, I'll just move on from that. Anyway, the bulk of our episode today, I can't believe we haven't done this already, actually, is talking about lightsaber combat forms. There are there are 7 main ones. I know I saw a mention of like a form 0, and I know there's some forbidden ones. I don't know. You'll get into the legends if there's anything there. So we were just gonna go through them. We'll talk a little bit about each one, like what the other names are, like what the gist of it is, like what the general vibe of each one, like what each one places emphasis on, and its strengths, weaknesses, focus, advantages, disadvantages, and then we'll name some of the famous Jedi or Sith or other wielders that focus on those. And in honor of lightsaber discussion, I wore my rainbow lightsaber. How can I? There, my rainbow lightsaber shirt. Happy Pride. We should have said that earlier in June, but yeah, happy Pride, happy Lightsaber Day. So why don't we just dig into it? So Form 1. I'll just give a little brief intro, and then I know you've got notebooks of notes on what you took from the Jedi and Sith notebooks there. So Form 1, I am pulling just straight from the canon stuff on Wikipedia. So Form 1, also known as Sheet Show, or the Way of the Sarlacc, or the Determination form, was the oldest and most rudimentary form of lightsaber combat developed by the Jedi Order and taught to all members. So this is like the beginning lightsaber style. When you are learning how to fight with a lightsaber, you are learning Form 1. After the creation of other combat styles, the first form was often used when all the others had failed. and the philosophy, it's kind of codifies standard lightsaber techniques, and the philosophy and techniques remained effective, and it was undeniably potent in the hands of a master. So even though it is kind of basic, it basically started out as like sword play, just like general, I am fighting with a sword, this is how you do it. So it relies on strength and strong moves, like just kind of attacks, disarming. I think I like to think of it as kind of the basics of wielding a lightsaber. So what else you got, Marty?
Yeah. So I mean, this was literally like as soon as you get your brand new lightsaber that you make, this is what Padawans use. This is like the first thing a youngling, before they were taken on as a Padawan, uses as a form of fighting, just because it is the easiest of all forms, I believe, because it is just like holding a regular sword, but instead of but it uses what I saw is like it uses the traditional maneuvers of like the intents to kill or maim, but they modified it because Jedi don't do that, so they just do it for disarming and the use of multiple opponents. So because you're kind of already straight out, so you can kind of just ready to go. The only downside what I saw was like it does not take advantage of the actual lightsabers, unique properties such as it being just a long stick of the weight, and I think it's also like just because it's a hot beam of light, you're not using it to its full advantage. You're just hitting it with a stick.
Yep. So it's like it's like solid technique, but it's not going as far as it could go. Like it's just it's just like using a sword. It's just a laser sword that cuts through things instead of instead of clanging and clashing or even whatever vibroblades do. I'm not even really sure.
Yeah. Although it must be good for something, because it's one of the many, actually it's the only technique that a Jedi High Council member uses, and that is Kit Fisto. So it's got to be something.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty good. It didn't help him very much during his fight with the Emperor, but I guess there were probably other factors at play. It says here, Chicho favored a direct approach to combat that strongly resembled that of traditional sword fighting, of the sort still practiced by warriors throughout the galaxy, wielding monomolecular edged blades and vibra swords. Monomolecular edged blades must be, I guess they are sharpened so that it's like a molecule. So I imagine that would cut through most things as well. Strikes and broad parries of Form 1 were quite basic in comparison to the sophisticated force-empowered maneuvers of other forms. However, the simplicity ensured that Form 1 was viable in a variety of situations, if perhaps less effective than a more specialized form. So it feels like this is kind of like, hey, you don't know exactly what you'll be coming up against, what you'll be fighting. This is a pretty broad, basic, run-of-the-mill approach that will help in a variety of situations, but might not be perfect for anything. So that was Kit Fisto, and pretty much every Jedi knows it, even if that's not their primary. Once they get through all of their training, a lot of them gravitate toward another one. So why don't we move on to Form 2 here? Form 2, also known as Makashi. Oops. An ad popped up. Also known as Makashi, was the second form of lightsaber combat invented by the Jedi Order. A somewhat aggressive yet also graceful combat style, it became specialist form for duels with Sith opponents. Form 2 relied on careful and controlled strikes instead of power and strength. So this one was... it says here, it arose in direct response to the appearance of enemies who also wielded lightsabers, the Sith. So... though Shicho Form 1 was derived from traditional blade-to-blade combat, it didn't account for the unique qualities of a lightsaber pitted against another lightsaber. So Form 2 was developed because they realized, hey, Form 1, the form that we know, isn't really helping when the enemy also has a lightsaber. So we need to figure out something that's a little bit more sophisticated and helpful in those specific duelist situations. What you got?
So it does have its downsides where it's poorly suited for multiple enemies and defense against long range attacks. So I guess because I'll go ahead and say people like Count Dooku and Asajj Ventress, that's their main style. And if you notice the way Dooku holds his lightsaber, it's kind of like a down kind of position.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume like that's kind of like the best starting position in that way, but you're not gonna most times get to where you need to go because you gotta make sure it's graceful. And I also saw in this Legends book, if anyone can see it, it says that the Path of Jedi. It's also gone by a couple other names called the Contention Form or the Way of the Salamiri, after a curious creature from the Inner Rim.
Okay.
Yeah, it's emphasizes precision strikes and well-balanced footwork. Practitioner keeps both feet one in front of the other on a line and advances or retreats along this line, avoiding the leap and acrobatics of Form 4. So, like, if you know someone's using Form 4, you're going to use Form 2.
Yeah, so this is like when you
describe style fighting too.
Yeah, when you describe the style of it, the physicality of it, it sounded exactly like fencing. Like you're standing horizontal to make a small target, and you're fencing. Like you have like a. You have to make that sound though while you do it. So that's Form 2. Yeah, like you said, Count Dooku. And so now that I think about it, like you said, it's not good for like multiple enemies or like, and I'm trying to think, you really don't see Dooku or Ventress like deflecting blaster bolts that often in the Clone Wars.
Not
like,
really.
They do occasionally, but like it's really not. They usually just do other things. Like I feel like they dodge blaster bolts or just use the Force to take the weapons away. Or it's that's interesting. So I'm glad they were paying attention to things like that. Like it's also not in Dooku's character really to be doing all that. And if you think about it, he's not really ever putting himself in situations where he's facing multiple enemies at once. Other than,
Anakin
and Obi-Wan or Ahsoka and Obi-Wan.
Or Ahsoka and Anakin. So Dooku's always facing more than one person, it looks like, but he was almost a council member. Had he, went by more of the rules of the Jedi, he would have been the most powerful Form 2 person on the council.
Yep. It says on my end that Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi was proficient in Form 2. So
yes,
no matter
he also teaches it
when he was born. Yeah, he teaches Form 2. That's awesome. Didn't know that.
I also see the Grand Inquisitor, the Third Sister, and then depending on the situation, even Master Luminara Unduli does Form 2 fighting.
Okay. Another thing I see here, it says crossguard lightsabers were once common among Makashi practitioners, many of whom fought at the Great Scourge of Malachor. So just like the Kylo Ren one that I have on the wall, lightsabers like that where they had like kind of cross guards, maybe not as vents like that one, but as like protection for your hand, just like a scabbard on a sword. So that you can't just like if you're only fighting one-handed, so that they can't just like slide their saber down and cut your hand.
That's very
pretty cool. Yeah. All right. Anything else about Form 2?
Nope. Nope. Let's see. It says every year during mid-year feed, Blade Masters exhibit their skills for their fellow Jedi, and in the exterior courtyard of the temple. So I guess this is basically like a ceremonial kind of fight too, fighting stance.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I saw what you said about Luminara Unduli. She would adopt mainly a practitioner of the defensive form 3, which we'll get to. Luminara Unduli would adopt a form 2 stance in certain duels, opening herself up to more attacks in the name of adopting the anti-Sith form. So when she was up against a Sith who had a lightsaber, she would adjust her fighting style to be more ready to take him out. It's because it's more of an aggressive, graceful but aggressive style to try and take the Sith out rather than be more on the defensive.
Yeah. So the picture.
Oh, sorry.
I would say the photo I had of her was from the episode where Ventress infiltrates the Venator ship, and they're fighting in the engine room, and she gets blinded. So she has to change her stance that way she's ready for that open attack to hear Ventress.
Yep, you're right. Okay, so let's move on to that third form 3, also known as Sorisu, the Way of the Minok. They choose the weirdest animals for this. Or the Resilience form was the third form of lightsaber combat created by the Jedi Order. It focused more on defense than attack. Proficient in its use, Jedi Master Depa Billaba taught her students, including Caleb Doom, to use Form 3 during close quarter fighting. Jarrus later used Form 3 against the Grand Inquisitor, who recognized it as a staple of Bilaba's instruction and was able to counter Jarrus's attempts to use it against him. That's unfortunate. Obi-Wan Kenobi also mastered the Soresu form of combat, surprising no one. So this is very... So while Form 2 developed in response to Sith and other enemies using lightsabers, Soresu was developed in response to the growing prevalence of blasters. So it says necessity of entirely new form to fill this niche stemmed from the relative ineffectiveness of Shicho techniques encountering blaster fire. So Form 1 was not good at countering blaster fire, especially from multiple enemies or other range-based attacks. So this is a more defensive one that I think allows you to defend against those types of things way more easily, more of a defensive stance, and away from entirely melee-based techniques, which is what Makashi is all about. So like they said, they mentioned Depa Billaba and Caleb Doom, which, as we know, is Kanan Jarrus, and I think it's really cool that the Grand Inquisitor was like, "Oh, you're fighting in this style, and I'm gonna counter it now." I think that's right. That's cool. He's evil, but that's really cool. And Obi-Wan, of course, the great guardian. What you got? Form 3.
All right, so in the form of legend, still kind of the same. It says it is the ultimate expression of defense, and its masters are said to be impervious to all forms of attack. Those who wish to study Form 3 are advised to practice their meditation, for Sorisu is the most inward directed of all forms. You are to be the calm eye of the storm as your enemies rage about you. And then skipping a few paragraphs, when you're using Form 3 to fight other saber-wielding enemies, a Jedi should pull all moves close to the body and seldom make sweeps or lunges, which makes sense. You don't see a lot of acrobatics from Obi-Wan a whole lot.
Yeah.
This creates a strong defensive cocoon that makes it difficult for an enemy to land more than a glancing blow, but it means it's unable to mount a counterattack. So you're mostly a defensive guy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense about keeping it close to the body. Like you make a small target, and because if you go sweeping out here, then it leaves your whole body unguarded. You see lots of deflecting, lots of multiple enemies shooting at you in the Clone Wars. Like, they're deflecting like hordes of blaster rounds from platoons of battle droids. So Excuse me, sorry. So yeah, it totally makes sense to what's it called? Be more defensive and have a different form for enemies who can shoot like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let me see. It's who else during Luminara Unduli was a Soresu master. During her duel against Count Dooku in the works of Coruscant, Jedi Master Yaddle adopted a Form 3 stance briefly when she stood her ground against the former Jedi. That was in the Tales of the Jedi. Unduli passed on many Soresu techniques to her Padawan Barra Sophie. Ophi, yeah. Form 3 appeared in the 2002 film Attack of the Clones, first identified as such in an archive character key titled Kanan Jarrus. Interesting. It's also in
Yeah, I was
Battlefront
looking
2, all the Clone Wars episodes, Rebels episodes. Cool.
I found it interesting. I was looking at some on the Wikipedia site for the canon stuff. Some of them, it's like they're identified, but the only appearance that it says is like, such as Form 1 was in just only Attack of the Clones. I was like,
Yeah.
that's not right, but
No,
okay.
it's like everywhere. It just, I guess, wasn't identified as such, like specifically, you know? Where
Yeah,
it's like if you see Padawans, like in Revenge of the Sith, like the Padawans defending themselves or trying to get rid of those clones, were probably using Form 1 because it's like all they knew. It's probably, unless they're advanced.
right.
But yeah, this one, I feel like any time that you see people deflecting a bunch or in like that defensive stance that Kanan uses a lot. Oop, there it goes. What did it last? Like 30 minutes? Oof. Well, my room looks different now. Yeah, so that's 3. So just to recap a little bit, we've got Form 1, which is pretty much just the basic. Form 2, which is meant for enemies with lightsabers, so it's aggressive but graceful, like a duelist style. And then you have Form 3, which is way more defensive and better for deflecting blaster bolts and other multiple enemies and ranged attacks. So let's move on to something completely different, which is Form 4. Form 4, known as Ataru, or the aggression form, was the fourth form of lightsaber combat invented by the Jedi Order. An acrobatic combat style, Ataru could be used to defend against incoming projectiles, but was best suited for open spaces and attacking. When the Galactic Republic was in its last years of existence, Anakin Skywalker made adjustments to the classic Form 4 techniques and demonstrated them in a holographic recording, later found in a holocron owned by Kanan Jarrus. One thing I thought that was interesting here is that Qui-Gon was an Ataru master. And whenever I think of Qui-Gon, I think way more about like what you were talking about at Form 3, which is like thinking inward and meditating and patience and that kind of stuff. I would not peg him as like a wide sweeping aggressive attacker, especially not once it says like while Form 1 depended on this continuous series of strikes, Ataru sought to end a fight swiftly by rapidly overpowering the foe with a flurry of blows. Ataru involved acrobatics, which would be performed with the assistance of one's use of the Force. Jumping, strikes, and somersaults. And a lot of these moves, you need the Force to help you with these jumps, like these big, like Force-assisted jumps way high up in the air and then coming down with lots of strength and force. Like it's aimed to disarm quickly and end the fight pretty fast. So I wouldn't expect that from Qui-Gon as much, but then when I'm thinking about the fight with Darth Maul, like he was getting tired partly, I think, because of his fighting style, and he was trying to end the fight with Maul quickly, but Maul was too good for that to be allowed, and he didn't allow that to work, and that's why Qui-Gon got tired, and we all know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to think, it's like, Qui-Gon's a big guy. I can't imagine him doing all these acrobatic leaps, but Yeah, you're right. Looking at it, thinking back about the fight with Maul, he did kind of have like a lot of those sweeping motions with at least especially on Tatooine. And when you look at that, it's all sweeping motion,
Yeah, and
moving
it's
pretty
he.
fast.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
And then when you get to the Duel of Fates, you could definitely see more of that sweeping motion, a lot of more acrobatic stuff, especially just jumping from platform to platform, ready to go.
Yep, yep, and he's doing. Oh, he wasn't doing the flips. Obi-Wan was doing the flips, but yeah, and I guess the thing we also have to remember is that when we saw him in the Phantom Menace, that is older Qui-Gon. Like he's not. He is not as physically fit as he once was, and not that he's like out of shape or anything. He's still obviously very competent and doing all the physical things that a Jedi needs to do. But I'm sure when he was younger back in the day that he could do all kinds of stuff. Like he is tall. He's got those long limbs. Like it's just like he'd probably be great at tennis. Like this is probably like one of the forms that kind of like fits his body's style. Like he has the reach, and he is connected to the Force very strongly, and would be able to use those moves to sense enemies' weaknesses and know how to just get in there and end the fight before it begins. And I know these aren't canon, but the Jedi Apprentice novels, I think, do a good job of explaining that and being consistent with that. Like he doesn't always want conflict, but when there is conflict, he just wants to lightning quick get in there and end it before it escalates.
Yeah.
But we talked about Qui-Gon a lot. Who else do we have that use Form 4?
Ayla Secura, Ezra Bridger, the Grand Inquisitor, Anakin Skywalker, and Yoda.
Of course, Yoda jumping around. Of course he did. I feel like he has to use it so that he could like be at the same height as everyone else. Otherwise, I don't know.
Right?
How he would, unless he's just ankle biting, like nipping lightsaber at your ankles. Like, yeah, I see Ayla Secura using it to an Ataru strike to bisect a separatist pro droid. It says if Sorisu was the calm at the center of the storm of battle, Ataru was the gale and the lightning. Warriors employing Form 4 were a blur of motion and flashing lightsaber strikes, unleashing an irresistible assault against the foe. Although the form had its limitations, it was undeniably effective, particularly against foes unprepared for such an onslaught. Of all lightsaber forms, none could reliably secure victories so swiftly. So it's a lot about speed and moving quickly, surprising the opponent. But it says while the Force could counteract the effects of physical exertion, using it to enhance one's attacks was draining in its own way. The form is very demanding physically, but this is why Ataru users had to swiftly secure a decisive victory, because many masters of the form believed that all battles had a tipping point by which an Ataru practitioner either had to achieve victory or accept defeat. So while it is faster and very effective on the offense, like it's all these moves are more physically demanding, and if you don't end it quickly, you are going to get tired.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense. It's a balancing act.
All
right. Oh yeah. Anything
according
else?
To legends, according to legends, it's also known as the Way of the Hawk Bat. And to accomplish these moves, a Form 4 practitioner must master the footwork of Suma. Unlike others, more rooted forms, Atura requires Jedi to use all axes of motion within three-dimensional space. Junk Suma, a rapid spin, Ton Suma, a somersault, and En Suma, a cartwheel. The skilled Jedi uses all three moves in conjunction with the Force to leap higher and jab faster than opponents can react.
That's the idea, and that's how you end those fights quickly. Cool. All right. More than halfway there. Form 4 complete. Let's look at Form 5. Form 5, also known by its two primary... where did it get this ad? Stop it. Form 5, also known by its two primary disciplines of Xian and Gemso, was the fifth form of lightsaber combat used by members of the Jedi Order. The Gemso variant of Form 4 was based on defending with solid blocks and parries, then immediately countering with strong counterattacks and ripostes. Although it was a form geared toward and created for lightsaber-to-lightsaber combat, it was nonetheless reasonably useful for blaster deflection. So it's defense, but then surprising offense right after the defense. Anakin Skywalker was a known user of Gemso, both during his initial stint as a Jedi and later when he fell to the Sith. The Xian variant of Form 5 also allowed the utilization of an unconventional reverse grip, which Ahsoka Tano was known to prefer and use during battles. Last thing here, Form 5 was developed by practitioners of Form 3 who saw the need for better offensive capabilities. So, like I said, it starts off defensive, and it has roots in Form 3, the super defensive one. But these Jedi were using Form 3 and were like, this is great, but there's just not enough attack. You need something to balance this out. So they kind of modified Form 3 into its whole new form, Form 5, in its two different variants. So what you got?
So it's also in Legends. I'm using this Book of Sith. It's also one of the two styles that only Sith use. They only use fast and strong style attacks. And since this is Form 5, this is more of the strong style. They use the Gemso version, just because it is, more about the offensiveness of it than anything else. Right. And any combat situation or style can be enhanced with the Dude Moch, which this tactic employs taunts and verbal attacks to weaken your enemy's will. So while you're doing the strong style attacks, you just taunt them the whole time.
That's funny.
It's also close enough for a gutting slash or an elbow to the face.
Okay.
So, at least in the Sith way of things.
Yep. It seems. But I like that. What's that D&D attack where you just hurl insults at them? And oh man, I forget it. Vicious Mockery, where it literally does psychic damage. That's cool. Cool. I didn't know that was incorporated in there.
And this style is mostly something that a lot of people of Jedi of towering stature or imposing musculature may choose to focus on, just because it requires less agility than other forms. So if let's say in the High Republic we have Buryaga, who is a Wookiee, this would probably be more of his form, just because he's big.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously Vader would make sense for him, especially how much he wants to dominate every situation. It says Form 5 was a fluid style. Practitioners had to always be ready to spring to the attack from a defensive position and then return to protection when momentum is low. While Shicho Form 1 and Ataru Form 4 forced the situation, and Sorisu waited patiently for an opportunity. These Form 5 variants that you seek to control the momentum of the battle, cleverly using whatever circumstances arose to their advantage. That seems definitely what Vader would do. But a lot of the situation, him using to his advantage, is that he's just horrifically strong in the Force and can just overpower people that way too. So
Yeah.
which is what you need if you're half robot and don't have the agility for Form 4 or something like that. Anything else about Form 5?
Nope. All of it's about the same still, canon and legends.
Yep. Cool. Let's move on to Form 6. The sixth form of lightsaber combat was the last to obtain widespread acceptance in the Jedi Order. In the centuries following its development, it's called... Oh, sorry. I should have started up here. Form 6, also known as Niman, was the sixth form of lightsaber combat used by members of the Jedi Order. It could be used to combine double-bladed lightsaber combat with other force abilities like pushes and lifts. Darth Maul had mastered this form and employed it in his duel against Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Theed power generator. So, I mean, that's really obvious. We see him using the force to push Obi-Wan down into the bottomless pit there at the end, and we see Obi-Wan and Anakin doing that like during their duel on Mustafar. Yeah, I think it's always... I didn't realize that blending force pushes and things like that was tied to a particular lightsaber form. I just thought it was just like a thing that you could do in the fight if you felt like doing it, but it looks like it's something that fits within the plan of Form 6. In the centuries following its development, Niman largely eclipsed the other forms in popularity, in many ways becoming the new standard for the Jedi. To many Jedi, it was the result of the natural progression of lightsaber combat. In a time of relative peace, some Jedi perceive the other lightsaber forms as outdated. It balances... In many ways, it balances the various qualities and approaches of Forms 1 through 5, and avoided many of the weaknesses inherent in those forms, but it also failed to achieve their full strengths, which leads to some Jedi Masters thinking of it as a diluted form. So, and it goes on to explain that, like, when you just... It's kind of a summary of the first 5 forms, and because of that, it's kind of like Form 1. It's like not overly effective at anything, and so some masters thought that it was lazy and complacent. Like you're not gonna go all in to learn a form. You're just gonna learn Form 6 and learn like parts of all the forms, and it's just a broad stroke. And it's kind of... And some Jedi masters thought it was dangerous to get that lazy. What you got in Legends? Anything different?
Let's see. Many battle masters do not consider Niman sufficiently demanding. While it's true, nearly impossible to form. Let me see. This is mostly used. Let's see. Let me start all over again. Niman is also called the moderation form or the way of the Rancor.
Ooh, that one I like. That's a good one.
Right? It's also known as the diplomat's form for its style preferred by Jedi counselors. Because remember, in Legends, you have different versions of Jedi. You have the counselors, you have the knights. Right. So counselors, they would use this form because they don't choose to make a career out of combat, unlike the Jedi Knights. Right. It's also a combat style associated with the use of twin blades. The art of wielding a sword in each hand is broadly known as Jarkai, after the Yavshin swordsman. Form 6 acts as a foundation for this challenging practice. Those who wish to incorporate a second blade may wish to use a lightsaber shoto in their offhand. For a shorter blade allows for greater range of motion. Jedi who have multiple limbs, such as Pirapolin Masters Skewely, I butchered that. Carried 6 lightsabers.
That's too many lightsabers.
He must have, one for each hand. He's got 6 arms.
I know. He had to build 6 lightsabers.
That's gonna suck.
Yeah, that's so obnoxious. Yeah, I could see that. I feel like I don't see how this one is better for multiple lightsabers than others if it doesn't even go in depth with like in any direction, you know?
Right. When using two blades, form practitioners hold the shorter blade shoulder in the offhand. So I guess
That's
it's
kind of
still
like
technically.
What's his name? Kamir in the Acolyte.
Kind of. I was thinking of Ahsoka as well. Sometimes you see her using like her Shoto hand. She kind of does like the Spider-Man thing, using the Force to push.
Oh yeah, while she's still holding the lightsaber.
Yeah.
I know that in Kamir's blades, the shorter one was much shorter, and so I wonder if this is what he mostly used, or if he, I don't know, he used a whole kind of thing because he was fighting off like 12 Jedi at once. So like,
right.
Excuse me. Good beer. All right, so that's Form 6. Yeah, it says oh, what was it? I just saw a part about Marshall something. Oh yeah, this its approach was carefully balanced, but it tended to favor defense. It reflected its origins, and it explained its popularity among Jedi whose primary interests lay outside martial pursuits. Like you said, the counselors rather than knights. However, it was as distinctive as any other lightsaber form, and any Jedi or anyone thoroughly educated in the traditions of the Jedi could recognize it immediately. But it also...
I feel it is. I feel it's more as like a, let me defend, push you away because I don't want to hurt you.
Yeah. And it says with its extensive integration of force powers, it was the least physical of the lightsaber forms. So quite unique among all martial arts traditions in the galaxy's history. So that's cool. All right, let's move on to, in my opinion, the most exciting Form 7, known by its two primary disciplines of Juyo and Vapad, and also known as the Ferocity form, was the 7th form of lightsaber combat. It was considered the most aggressive and unpredictable form. Both Mace Windu and Depa Billaba were the only known masters of the Vapad variant in the Jedi Order that hadn't fallen to the dark side. However, the latter Jedi Master, Depa Billaba, mainly used Form 3 in close quarters. The Juyo variant was prevalent among dark side adepts such as Darth Maul, a Sith Lord, and the Grand Inquisitor. So I know I'm just going to summarize from what I remember here. I remember reading this in, I don't know if this is canon or legends, but I read it in Mace Windu's Shatterpoint. They were talking about Vapad and how it is dangerous because it lets you have to draw on your passion and the chaos inside you, like your ferocity. Generally, you have to draw on the emotions that lead you to the dark side, and you have to find a way to use those without letting them overcome you and cause you to turn. So it's dangerous, but Mace Windu was good at it, and became a master. But he also would not. He was not willing to teach it to just any student, like beyond his Padawan, because he knew how dangerous it was. He was like, I know that I can do this. I don't know that anyone else can do this.
I mean, considering a lot of people have fallen to the dark side because of that, I understand why. For the Juyo, yeah, that's what I think. It's funny because I was reading. I was like, Juyo focuses on the aggressive assault, where it draws upon all your negative emotions and fuels your relentless assault. And it said the Vapad. I was like, it says similar to Juyo. Okay, so what's the difference then? You just don't give into it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yep. You use it, but you don't give into it. Practitioners of Vapad drew on their anger and passion, but never gave into them. Compared with the other lightsaber forms, which directed warriors to master their emotions, Vapad's approach was dangerous. However, it was not as reckless as Juyo's manner of employing unchecked aggression. So, Mace Windu was also the creator of Vapad, not just a master of it. He invented Vapad by studying Juyo and then just being like, nah, I'm not gonna give into him. I'm just gonna use him. It says both variants of the form were as demanding physically as they were emotionally, and in some ways harked back to the direct kinetic simplicity of Shicho. So it's like less about exact stances or footwork or acrobatics and it's more about kind of the flip side of Form 3, which was like, drawing into yourself internally, but in a negative and dangerous way, which is very cool. It says Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is the first appearance. So I guess maybe they're saying Darth Maul did it.
I would say the Juyo form, yeah.
Yeah.
The Juyo variant.
Yeah, okay.
Or no, Obi-Wan.
Oh, do you think? Yeah.
Where as soon as
Qui-Gon
died. Yeah.
Or got knocked out, like got stabbed. Yeah, that probably it did not work for him. he lost the lightsaber portion of that fight.
He did.
He got beat. Darth Maul was just a little too animalistic and unfocused in his surroundings, I think. Also, I know the Force is a thing, but like he had 9.5 years to react to Obi-Wan jumping out and slicing him in half. Like all you had to do was ignite your lightsaber, bro, and like just keep fighting. It took a really long time. Even I was like, no offense, Darth Maul, if you're out there, I still like you. Look, your lightsaber's right there. So that's Form 7, and that is the oh, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
So I do want to mention, I don't know if you've read these, but it's got like little margins of like people marking in them.
Yeah.
There's one from Quinlan Voss, and it says, Master Draggle teaches this form. I think Master Windu invented a variation on it too. He calls it Vapad, just like Bane's Sith instructor did. Could Master Windu be a... Nah. Still, I'll look into it. And that was Quinlan Voss saying that. I was like,
Quinlan Voss. What a guy. Him working with Obi-Wan in Clone Wars was pretty funny. That was a pretty goofy little arc there. All right, so that's all the 7 lightsaber forms. Just a really, really quick rundown of them all. So Form 1 is just the basic, like what everyone teaches. Like if you're learning lightsaber, you're learning Form 1. Basic attacks, a little bit of defense, like just basic sword play. Form 2 was formed for defending and attacking opponents with lightsabers. Like, so the Sith had lightsabers, so the Jedi needed a way to defend themselves and handle fighting people with lightsabers. So it was footwork, fencing, dualism, cool stuff. Form 3, much more defensive, great for deflecting blaster fire, lots of close to your body movements, just waiting for an opportunity to strike, not necessarily creating that opportunity yourself. Form 4, much more aggressive, lots of acrobatic jumps and flips, and you are trying to end the fight as quickly as possible. Form 5 was kind of a combination of 3 and a little bit of 4. It's defensive, but you are actively looking to mid defense right after a parry. You are trying to create an opening for an attack that is unexpected. Form 6 developed kind of this with all the strengths of forms 1 through 5. It included a lot of force moves like force push, force pull, force lift, force lightning. Lots of different force attacks, and that's the one that a lot of the masters were like, this is kind of lazy and complacent and whatever. And then Form 7 is the one where you draw on your anger and passion and negative emotions and If you use Juyo, you fall to the dark side, and if you use Vapad, you don't. And that is a grand total of 2 people that have successfully used Vapad and not fallen to the dark side, to our knowledge. How'd I do? That was all from memory, by the way.
That's pretty good. I gotta ask though, which form would you use if you were able to, do a combat?
I think I have low key been thinking about this ever since I started looking at them today. I think I would go with 5 because generally I am not as acrobatic as I once was, much like Qui-Gon. I think I would. I'm trying to think of like how I play with the kids and stuff, and I think I would keep it. I would keep it close to my body and be defensive until I see an opening, which is kind of like Form 3, but I think I'd be defensive and then create the opening by myself. Like you're looking for your opponent's weaknesses, right? You're looking for what he does. So I do enjoy mind games. So I think I would play mind games and try and bait the opponent into a situation and kind of use what I say, vicious mockery, and try and get him to get frustrated and do something. And then as soon as he and I'd bait him into attacking this way so that I could react this way and then do my own attack. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I'm not patient enough for 3, I don't think, and I'm not athletic enough for 4. So I think 5 is the way I would probably go with that. What about you?
I would have to say 5 as well because I'm not as athletic as I would like to think I am, but I feel like just because how I feel broad shoulder. Like I got broad shoulders, and I feel like out of all the forms, I'm just imagining myself swinging in different forms. I think 5 would be where I'm at.
Yeah.
Maybe some attempts at 4, because I mean, Qui-Gon's a bigger guy, and he was doing those sweeping motions, so I might be able to take some of those motions of 4.
Yeah.
And then. But I think 5 is where it's at. I think that's like the sweet spot of a fighting style.
Yeah, I think 10 years ago I would have said either 4 or like 6. But I think now mid 30s Ian I think is feeling pretty comfy at 5. I like how Vader does it without jumping around.
Right.
I could also see Dooku like Form 2, like that would be fun if I'm in enough of a position of power that I don't find myself needing to deflect a billion blaster bolts. That might be fun too.
I feel like if you're toying with your Padawan, Form 2 would be it.
That would be pretty good. Also, Form 3 with the kids is great because you just slap away their attacks. Just like, ha 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 ha. All right, so that's all 7 lightsaber forms. Let's move to our last segment here. Star Wars trivia. Take it away, Marty.
All right, so we actually, and we might start doing this every day of the show, is post on social media, have a poll up if we remember the trivia challenge question
right now.
And today's question is, I guess it's not technically a question, it's more of just a random thing to see if you guys can guess it. Where'd it go?
That's a question, I think.
I guess that was. Okay, today's trivia challenge is, according to most internet forums, it has been agreed upon that Kylo Ren uses mostly this as an adherent version of this form. Was it A, Form V? Oh, sorry, Form V, Form 5. It's been a long day. B, Form 4, C, Form 1, or D, Form 3. Of course, on social media, it'll be different. It'll be 1, 2, 4, 5, according to A, B, C, or D. So, Ian, do you get the result kind of pulled up?
Yes. So the internet on I didn't check X yet. Give me a sec. Where is it? Where is it? Come here. So on X, how many posts did we make? Oh, there we go.
I know, right?
Okay, so it's been about almost exactly the same for all of them. It's about around 40% vote for Form 4. And then Form 3 and Form 5 get a significant amount of votes, and then Form 1 gets very little. So my personal guess would have been Form 4 because it's very aggressive, very pushy, and lots of, like we said, sweeping motions. He does these big blows. He's constantly leaving himself open to attack. So my guess would be B, Form 4.
Yeah, I would think so too. But according to a lot of sources I found, it was Form 5.
Really interesting.
I think a lot of his skills was because he's trying to emulate a lot of. I mean, he does incorporate. He's actually got a hybrid of 5, 4, and I think 6. No.
No, he uses force powers. Yeah, he totally does.
He's got a hybrid, but everyone's agreed like his main fighting form is Form 5. Because it's kind of similar to Vader, and based on his stature, he's a big man.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna probably fight with that kind of form, kind of similar to Vader.
Yeah, he does definitely try and, like, through sheer strength, like, try and knock your blade away so you have an opening. Like, that's exactly how he was beating Rey, was just like knocking her off balance and creating an opening for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't ever see him really starting off defensive. Like, Form 5 is like, it still starts off defensive until you create an opening, and he is just all aggression.
You would think that, like, I don't know what people were trying to figure out, but I mostly see more of a different form. I guess they're more thinking about his offensive style and how that is more than the defensive part of it. But a lot of the places I look, because I was trying to find Kylo Ren's form, like it wasn't in Wikipedia anywhere. So I went to some forums, and everyone that I saw kind of said Form 5.
Maybe, I mean, he didn't learn. He started to learn from Luke. Luke learned from who? Like Yoda? And how much lightsaber training did he really get from Yoda? Like,
he learned a little bit from Obi-Wan too.
Yeah. And so, like, he's learning secondhand. Like, I guess what I'm saying is the styles, these lightsaber forms, Luke learned them kind of haphazardly, not in a formal setting, especially not since he was young. And then he, who only had, I assume, a basic, vague understanding of different forms, taught Ben or Kylo for a little bit before Kylo went on his own, and then was trained by Snoke, who was a clone of Palpatine. So, like, what?
And the Knights of Ren.
And the Knights of Ren, which they have melee weapons, but they're not lightsabers. So his education, I could totally see it not actually fitting into any of these boxes, because they just, his education is so fragmented and not the same as an upbringing in the Jedi Temple. So I could totally see how it doesn't fit a particular form.
Right. I think Form 5 was kind of the thing, because what did Luke mainly use in Return of the Jedi? It was more of a Form 5, is what a lot of people were saying.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
with a little bit of Form 7 when he mentioned Leia. He just went rage.
I also got something else for you. I got a bonus question.
A bonus question.
What
God.
variant of 1-5 was it? Was it Gemso or Sheen?
I already forget the difference between Gemso and Sheen. Hold on, let me go back. Gemso in practice. Where does it explain that? Does it Gemso variant was based on defending with solid blocks and parries, then immediately countering. Sheen variant allowed the utilization of an unconventional reverse grip. So I guess since it wasn't a reverse grip, it was Gemso? Question mark?
Maybe. Correct.
Okay. I'll take it. All right.
I had to come up with a bonus question to that because technically it was 2 variations of one form. So
yeah, that'll do it. It has been. Oh, hey, we even outlasted your lightsabers this time. Remember when I was like, "Hey, let's do a short show." Yeah. So that is our show. Diving deep into lightsaber forms. Hope you enjoyed that, and overall, we hope you enjoy what we're doing here. We know Star Wars fandom and comment sections can sometimes get dark and toxic, but it does not have to be that way. We're trying to bring fun and positivity to the Star Wars side of the internet. Remember, there are more of us. Again, if you have anything for us, questions, requests, suggestions for future segments, anything at all, throw them in the comments and we will see what we can do. Don't forget to follow us at SW Culture Live everywhere, and me at Nerdiest Stepdad, and Marty at Marty21794. Check out our podcast. We are almost all caught up. We're pretty much all caught up on Apple Podcast and Spotify. All our episodes are on there now. So check us out there. But for now, may the Force be with you, and we will see. Oh, I did that backwards. See you next week, and may the Force be with you.